Shalom, it's the Limit Eddie back with another video. You saw the thumbnail. Today it's time to make a decision. Am I going to stay here in Tanzania or am I going to the Gambia? Before we get into this video, I want you to smash the subscribe button. We are super close to 20,000 subscribers, so we need each and every one of you who is watching this video to smash the subscribe button and also like the video. I want to get 1,000 likes on this video. I know that we can do it, so if you're watching this video, like the video as well. This video right here may be your first time watching my channel, so you may not understand why I will be considering going to the Gambia. So let me go ahead and give you a quick rundown to get you up to speed. I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California. After living there for 21 years, I got a little bit tired of the way the city was running and decided to leave. I was actually going to go out to Vegas. I had applied to an apartment and I got approved for that apartment. But then I just had a feeling that Vegas was not for me. And I prayed and I asked the Most High where was I supposed to go, and the answer that I received was to Tanzania, and that's where I'm standing right now. The plan coming into Tanzania was to be able to stay here for a longer period of time, and the way that I was researching, the best way for me and the most affordable way for me was to go ahead and get a student visa or student permit, which allows me to stay in the country for 2 years. And that's exactly what I did. I applied for a student permit, but then things went a little bit south. Essentially, they changed the way that they enforced the policy as far as giving out the student permit. So while instead of me getting 2 years, at first I was getting nothing, then it was supposed to be 6 months, and then what I finally actually did receive was 9 months. But that's still 15 months short of what I paid for. And this is one of the many issues that we as a diaspora are facing here in Tanzania, which is of course causing me and many other people to reconsider repatriating to Tanzania. Pretty much as of now, I'm caught in between, do I stay here in Tanzania and just fight it out, find a way to stay here for a long period of time, or do I go to a country that's a little bit more receptive to African Americans, and that country being the Gambia? Okay, so with that being said, when it comes to relocating to another country, there's always a form of logic that has to be applied to it, and one of those kind of like subcategories of logic is financially. Does it make sense to stay or does it make sense to go? So basically, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the numbers and the particulars of my situation, and it might also help you, because I know a lot of people who are looking at Tanzania are also going to be looking at the Gambia. People who are looking at the Gambia are also probably going to be looking at Tanzania. So maybe my specific situation might be able to help you. So here we go. So when it comes to TZ, right now I have 9 months to stay here. A little bit less than 9 months, but let's just say 9 months to stay here. Once this 9 months expires, basically I would either have to re-up on my tourist visa and then have to come in and out the country every 90 days, which is a bit of a hassle, or I could go for a work and residency permit. Now, the work and residency permit, basically they have to go together. Now, you get the work permit, and once you get a work permit, you basically say, oh, I have a job in Tanzania, or I have this business in Tanzania that requires me to stay in Tanzania. So they say, oh, you got a work permit? Well, it makes sense that we offer you a residency permit. But you can have a work permit and not have a residency permit, but the work permit just allows you to work. The residency permit allows you to stay. So this is what I'm most interested in, but you can't get this without getting this first. So it's a combo deal, and that means $1,000 for the work permit and $3,050 for the residency permit, and this is in United States dollars. Okay, so getting both of these combined will allow me to stay for 2 years, and it'll cost me $4,050. This is information that I got from the immigration lawyer that I contacted here in TZ. So boom, that's where we're at right there. So $4,050 to stay in TZ. And this is just the permit process. There's a lot more that go into it, so that price will be significantly higher, but this just permits. Now, in the Gambia is, I'll go in and get a visa on arrival, which will give me a 30-day stay for 60 USD. Now, I would then have to extend my visa 2 times, 1 month each time, and that's going to cost 1,000 dalasi each time that I recertify. So 2,000 dalasi in total, which for my calculation, it was 40 USD. All right, so after I get the 2 extensions, I would have been in Gambia for 3 months, which allows me to then apply for a residency permit and a alien card. That's what the AC is, alien card. Now, from the sources that I've communicated with, it's going to be around 100 USD for that. So when you add it all together, for me to stay in Gambia for 1 year, it's going to cost me $210 US. Now, if you want to compare apples to apples, 2 years in TZ versus 2 years in the Gambia, it's going to cost me $310 for 2 year stay in the Gambia. So financially, I mean, the Gambia comes out ahead, right? Okay, so numbers wise, as far as being able to stay, it's a lot easier in the Gambia. Now, keep in mind, with the work permit situation in Tanzania, it's not a guarantee that you can spend the money. It's not a guarantee that you actually get the work permit. And that's what I was told by the immigration lawyer I spoke with. But in Gambia, it's almost, I feel like it's almost 100% chance that it will go through exactly as I have it written out on the board, because I've spoken to many other people who have done it, and they said, yeah, that's not even an issue here in the Gambia. There are issues in the Gambia, but the visa process seems a lot easier. The next thing that I had to think about is, what are some of the advantages that the Gambia has over Tanzania, and what are some of the advantages that Tanzania has over the Gambia? All right, so right now on this whiteboard, I have some of the pros that Tanzania has over the Gambia, and some of the pros that Gambia has over Tanzania. So starting over with TZ, man, we're going to talk on these points a little bit more in depth in just a second, but we're going to just touch on them right now. I've been in Tanzania for going on 5 months, so I've made a lot of connections that, you know, I have yet to make in the Gambia. So things just come a little bit easier for me in Tanzania because of the connections that I have. Also, Tanzania is cheaper. It's cheaper than Gambia when it comes to buying land, when it comes to houses, when it comes to pretty much most things. It's a little bit cheaper than it is in the Gambia. And again, that's kind of one of the pros and kind of one of the cons. The land is cheap because we don't have a lot of diaspora or a lot of foreigners coming over and buying up the land and inflating the prices, but that's also kind of a con for TZ at the same time. Likewise, Gambia, English is spoken widely in the Gambia, which is definitely a pro because it helps you to blend in a little bit more, but it's also a con because, of course, the English-speaking country is still a colonized language, and so you're still going to deal with some of the effects of such actions. But likewise, it allows you to own land in the Gambia, which is one of the bigger pros over TZ, is no matter what in TZ, I can technically be on land and develop land and different things like that, but I never truly own it as I do here in the Gambia. It always had to be some type of tricky way to get it in TZ. Lastly, the president met with a member of the diaspora. I think the president of Gambia met with a channel over there called Blacksit. And this just shows the willingness and the support that the Gambian, nation has for the diaspora. And that's kind of a really big pro of how welcoming the Gambia is to diaspora. All right, so I would say when it comes to pros and cons, Tanzania and the Gambia kind of come out equal. They kind of balance each other out. So Gambia still has a slight lead in a sense that it's a lot cheaper to stay there for a long period of time, and the likelihood of me staying there for a long period of time is a lot higher because they don't seem to be changing the laws or changing the enforcement of the laws just willy-nilly. So I think what it really comes down to, though, is am I going to Tanzania or am I going to stay in Tanzania, or am I going to go to the Gambia? I think it really comes down to where do I feel like I'm going to flourish the most? Like, where am I going to be at my best? And is that Tanzania or is that Gambia? So I definitely feel like I've grown a tremendous amount spiritually being here in Tanzania just because of the circle that I've been around. All right, and one of the things in the last Shabbat that I had went to, there was a brother there, man, and he was basically just talking about living within your mandate, or basically, living within your purpose. And when you do that, everything that you need and desire will basically flow to you, and so it shouldn't be a stressful process when you're living within your mandate. And so it really forced me to think. That was right before I went out back to America. It really forced me to think, like, what is my mandate, what is my purpose, and what was my purpose initially when I was coming to the content. And really, like, it has always been, was just to get a plot of land and to build that up into where it will sustain me, food, like sustain my life, food, water, shelter, and then just broadcast that to the world, you know what I mean, via YouTube, via videos and content. And so that was always my purpose within coming to Africa. And I definitely know for a fact people really enjoy my videos, they really enjoy my storytelling, and really enjoy just coming through life with me. And I do believe that if I was to get some land and to build it up, I would have the greatest impact on my community by doing that. This rebranding the narrative of homesteading, or rebranding the narrative of permaculture, showing that young black people can do this, or black people in general can do this, and that this might be the best move for us in the future, is just to set ourselves up to where we can become independent of the matrix. So That is kind of my purpose or my mandate. And so the question is, where can I do that the best? Would that be in Tanzania or would that be in the Gambia? All right, so in Tanzania, you can get land here. There's ways to do it, and you just have to be a little more tricky with it. Now, the problem with me is I like to just be on a straight and narrow with certain things, and especially right now with the level of pushback we've been getting from immigration, I wouldn't want to be doing some tricky stuff and broadcasting that, and they say, you know what, we want to make an example out of somebody, and they choose me because I have a YouTube channel or a platform where it'll be more broadcast. Like, did you hear what happened to No Limit Eddie? So that is kind of one of my bigger concerns with doing that here in TZ. Not that it can't be done, but that's kind of one of my concerns. Versus in the Gambia, I can own land legally over there, and I can show the process of building it up and everything like that without fear of recourse. And so that's kind of what gives the Gambia its big edge. Now, I don't want to leave Tanzania. I'm going to be honest with you. I will feel, when I left America, I never felt homesick, like, oh, I want to go back so bad or anything like that. When I did go back, I went back just to handle certain things, like slay a beast, is what I termed it, and to get out of there. And it was never any feelings like, oh, I want to go back, or I feel like I'm leaving my whole life. I really packed myself up in a suitcase and a carry-on bag, and I was gone. And I really didn't think too much about the States. But actually, when it comes to leaving Tanzania, man, it's actually a lot more of a struggle for me to leave Tanzania. Even though logically it makes the most sense to leave, I still want to stay in Tanzania. And that's kind of the craziest part about it. And it's not necessarily the lifestyle here, more so than it is the people here. Like, the people here are so dope, especially like the circle that we have in Tanzania. So that's kind of why I don't want to leave Tanzania. But logically, it makes the most sense to go to the Gambia, because I'll be able to fulfill the purpose of what I came to Africa to do. And so I keep going back and forth. About, do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? But I think the decision has to be to go. I think the decision has to be to go to the Gambia, and just make it happen over there. Because if I can't stay in a place legally, I can't do what I came here to do, then will I ever truly be happy here? You know what I mean? Like, can I truly be happy not living within my purpose? That's kind of what it comes down to. And so I believe the decision is to go to the Gambia. That's a decision that we have to make. I have to make a decision so that way I can start making progress towards that decision. And so I think that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and go over some of the numbers of what it's going to take to go to the Gambia, and give you guys an estimate of what it'll take me, and it might help you to know what it'll take for you to do the same thing. All right, so here's basically the cost breakdown. So the flights right now, from the time frame that I'm looking at, is going to be around $632 US. The visa, and this is flying from Dar es Salaam to Banjul, which is the capital city of Gambia. Visa is going to be around $200. I think I made a mistake in the math earlier. I think I said it was 110, but I think it was just 100. But the visa is going to be around $200. This should include the entry visa, the extensions, and the residency and alien cards. Around $200 in there. And then we got to get a place. You got to live somewhere when you get there, right? So the housing, I would like to pay around $200 a month for the property, even less if possible. And the leases go from anywhere from 6 to 12 months. So let's say on a 6-month lease at $200 a month, we're looking at around $1,200 for that property. And then land. This is kind of the big thing, is you don't know really how much the land is going to cost. But I've seen anywhere from, I say 2,000 is basically the minimum from people that I talk to. And who knows what it'll be with the fees or the process and the lawyers, how much it can go up to. And even the plots for 2,000 are kind of small. So it might actually be quite a bit more than 2,000, but I'm not 100% sure. But this is basically the map. So flight, visa, housing, and land. All right, so that is pretty much the math on going to the Gambia. So not gonna lie, it's gonna be a little bit pricey to go there as well, but I'm not playing with fire as much, because once I get there and get the house and get the visa, I mean, I'm good for a year. I don't have to keep worrying about, are they gonna kick me out or different things like that. I'm planting roots in a place where they're trying to uproot me. You see what I'm saying? Versus there, I'm planting roots in a place where I should be able to stay a little bit longer, which should alleviate a lot of that 90-day stress Even when I came in, I have 60 days, but I asked for 60 days, so it's not a big thing. But I have 60-day time window. And if I didn't have my student visa, I would have a 60-day clock on me. So that stress of always like ticking down, kind of does distract you from your major purpose in life. And so yes, and just supporting the grind, man. Watching all of the what's. Don't be, if it had that skip button, don't hit that skip button. All right, no cap, for real. So that's pretty much what we're looking at, man. Going to the Gambia, let's get some land, let's start developing it, let's show you guys a process let's show you guys a process of me building it, and everything like that. So appreciate you guys for watching this video. I think that this video should be helpful for you if you're looking at the Gambia, looking at Tanzania. Hey, go to NoLimitEddie.com and pick up some merch. We got merch on NoLimitEddie.com, hoodies, shirts, stuff like that, mugs as well. PayPal and Cash App is in the description. I really appreciate any donations you guys have for me. And basically, man, yeah, we're gonna be grinding on YouTube, and then we're gonna be grinding on drop shipping, and we gotta make this happen. All right, so see you guys in the next one. Y'all willing. Peace.